Hello and welcome to how I play my level 105 Shadowknight. Today we're going to talk about spells, we're going to talk about how I have my hotbar, how I do my multibind, so I only have to push one button to play the character to a, I would say, 99% efficiency. And we'll talk about gear, we'll talk about other stuff too. But first things first, let's talk about spells. My first spell here is Impose for Power. If you've watched my previous videos on the subject of Shadowknight, you'll know that this is always my top spell. This spell, this is the current level of it, of power, or for power, is the line of spells. Challenges your target to proof of might, instantly increasing their hatred for you by 51-52, and then by 51-52 every 6 seconds for 30 seconds, imposing what is this? Power of armor, or power recourse, which increases your armor class by 130 or 163 for a minute. So let me. Here's my combat dummy, Asana here. We just cast it on there. You can see there we get the recourse. Well, where's the recourse? It goes somewhere, but it's a buff on us somewhere around here. That gives us more. There it is, right here. Impose of power for power recourse. Give us more armor class. You can see we have 54 and 91 buffed armor class with all the buffs I have right now. Stuff like that. Great spell, near instant cast. Now, it will eventually become instant cast, but it's not there yet. It does have its own AA focus in the focus tab here. At 105, focus skill, you know, the focus tab actually starts to matter in the fact that you can actually spend points in it. And if you have auto grant, get those things, right? So here, improved demand for power here. This changes the ability so that it will slow with Helix of the Undying undead targets. So it's kind of nice to be able to, you know, slow an undead target by 55%. Lowers its chance to do wield and agility and dexterity and all that stuff. Now, if you have a necromancer in your group, they can turn a mob undead, and then your demand for power will slow it. But you know, that's kind of out of the way of getting to the point of, you know, being able to do this. But it allows you to do it, and it's a thing that's kind of nice. So, plus every time you cast that, you get the 163 armor class for 2 minutes. So, always cast it. Next up, I have a Spear of Vizat. This is just our current level spear. It's a timer 5 spell. Near instant cast at a 0.1. Does 10,000 damage. You barely see the cast bar when it goes up, right? Boom. It's on. It does 153,000 DPS on that one spell. But obviously we have other things going on here. So the crit, the 10k, with all the modifiers, ended up doing 72,000 damage. And then with my bard, I got a crit on the thing that comes from there. So you can ignore that if you don't have a bard. Next up, I have Bone Maw's Bite, which conjures a mystical maw that tears at your enemy, causing 1750 damage, and uses that energy to heal the bodies and minds of your group. So this is a group life tap, mana tap. It's kind of nice to have. So you just, it's a pretty quick cast, you know, whatever. You can see there, it did all kinds of stuff there. Ragged Bite of Agony, you know, all kinds of damage. I think it twin casted in itself on that all too. So even more damage. Looks like that was a, 100k damage out of all that. Maybe less, but it looks like it, you know, with the arcane melody there, it really bonuses that damage out. But everybody gets a little bit of love out of that one, so it's pretty nice. Next up, we have Touch of Holman. This is a life tap, but it also gives us hit points from that life tap. So you can see here, it Takes 3522 damage, and then I believe it turns that into a a bonus. I believe I already have it on, so let me cast it here. Yeah, I just have so many buffs, I don't even know. I don't even see it, but it's probably here somewhere. It's probably like on the second page of these. Right here. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it gives you hit points. They're temporary. They go off over time. Let's see here, like right there. Just see if I can find it real quick for just demonstration purposes, really. I just don't see it. Oh wait, maybe this is it right here. Yeah, Gift of Hallman right here. Yeah, increases hatred generation by 25% and increases our maximum hit points by 2300. So it's not quite as much, but it's still it's a 10-minute, 16-minute buff that I chain cast because it's so good. Then we have Dire Declaration, which it's a powerful life tap. It does an 8800 life tap, so a little bit more damage than that. And we cast it 26,000 with all the AAs and focus abilities and stuff from our gear, so definitely nice. And we get healed for about 2/3 of whatever the life tap is, I believe. I don't think it's a 1-to-1. I believe it's about 2/3. So if we look at healing, yeah, if I don't have damage, I can't really see my healing. So and then we have Touch of Lutzen as our final life tap here. This does 4,800. It's a little bit smaller of a life tap, a little less mana, still about the same cast time. You can see there. This one crit for 50,000. So, you know, definitely can get some high damage out, right? You can see there 50,000 damage right there. So if I wait long enough, this resets. Kind of nice, huh? Then we have Terror of Narus. Now, this is our current level terror spell. Now, if I cast it, it's instant cast, and it casts that terror spell. Now, that instantly jolts the enemy to attack me, which is kind of great, right? Because we want the mob to always attack us. I use this to pull because it's instant right now. Later on, when Demand for Power becomes instant, I'll probably be pulling with that and not Terror. Terror is in my Multibind, so that is something I cast on cooldown. It just gives me hatred. I want all the hatred. I want to out hatred everybody else is the goal of the game here. Now we have Dichotomic Fang, which is our current level progressive ability. So this is something that was added in the Broken Mirror. So this is from a level 105 expansion. So if you think of how 100 to 105 works, right? At 100 you have a Darkened Sea, so that allows you to go from darkened, 100, or I guess 101 to 105, right, in that expansion. On top of that, they did the Broken Mirror, and then they did Empires of Kunark. Those are both 105 expansions, right? The Broken Mirror had some progressive abilities added to it that allow you to do this here, which is a large life tap and whatnot, and it's a long recast time. If we cast it, you can see there it did 47,000 damage, and then another 2,000 damage, right? So it's pretty nice. What was it, 49,000 total? But it's a minute reuse, so it's pretty nice. And that's a life tap, so I believe that most of that comes back to us in healing, so it's pretty nice. So this is from the Broken Mirror expansion. Now, to increase the power of this spell, you would have to do the progression through the expansion and unlock those different things. Now, the way these progressive abilities work is they're like every other expansion. So the Broken Mirror, you skip it, and I believe they skipped it in Ring of Scale because that's a leveling expansion, but the next one in the Burning Lands is when the next version comes out. Let me check real quick. I bought spells on one of these guys. No. I don't know. So I know there's another one in Claws of Vishan, and then another one in Knights of Shadow, and then there's going to be another one in the Outer Brood. So I guess these early ones, I'm not 100% sure when they switch the next one in, because they packed more expansions in than they do now, right? So there's 2 expansions per level set. Then some of these other ones had 3 or 4 expansions at that level. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be always updating this. I like to use it just because it's a long cooldown, and I can put it on my bar and I can use, you know, all those abilities, right? Let's see here. Then we have Disgust. This is our current level. AoE Hatred. Now the Shadowknight is really lucky in the fact that we get Explosion of Hatred, Explosion of Spite, and Steam of Hatred, which are 3 AoE AAs. But we also get a spell line that does AoE Hatred, so it's pretty nice. Now, in the Call of the Forsaken expansion, there was an AoE life tap version. I'm not sure if that line got carried on, you know, further beyond that at level 100. But I could not find the spell that was upgraded. So I don't know if that keeps going or not. So we just have this one here at the moment. If I find it or find out, you know, what happened to that, I'll definitely update that spell slot. No, you'll notice in my Multibind, it is the last spell I cast. So keep that in mind later on. Next up, we got a new spell line. This came in at the 100 to 105 range. This is Harmonious Disruption. So this places a mantle on yourself, which will cause you to automatically attempt to life tap your target and incite aggression in all enemies around you whenever another caster's heal between 96 and 110 land on you. This mantle will fade after 2 minutes, or if you have attempted 40 life taps. Now, there is, you know, you kind of listen to the requirements here, right? So, automatically attempt to life tap and your target and incite aggression all enemies around you when another caster's heals between levels 96 and 110 land on you. So, I have to be healed to trigger this ability. Which is kind of crazy, right? But like, I have some synergy going on in my group, which means I'm being healed at a non-stop, right? I even have my Beast Lord healing me, and I think my Bard has remote healing, or my Beast Lord has remote healing, and eventually they're going to have remote healing on all of them, but this has a limited number of charges, right? It's 4 minutes, 40 charges. Now every time I get healed. So watch, if I go over to my Shaman and I target him and I do Reckless Regeneration, we remember we're at 40. Now we're at 38. Why are we at 38? Well, it twin cast. Can't see it though. Can't see it, you know, this with this UI, right? Like where, like, I don't know, it hides too much stuff. You can see there, both of those hit. There's the third one, and 37. So every time that happens, I will life tap in addition to my stuff, right? So if we, like, see if we can trigger this, right? Spike of Anger, we're just going to let him melee on there. Go over here, heal him. That was a single heal. Now, let's see if we can find it. Whatever that life tap was called. Spike of Anger is my shield, I believe. Shroud of Doomscale, Strike of Opportunity. Now, I don't believe it's 100% chance. Strike of Opportunity, I got like Wolfenite gem in my thing. I didn't have anything better. Let's see here, let's do that again. Reckless, Lion's Roar. I don't know. Maybe I'm not going to be able to see it It's hard to say if I'm going to be able to see it here. Cascading Theft of Life. Strike of Opportunity, Strike of Peasant's Horror. Like I got a lot of life taps going on, so I can't really see it or, you know, see the effects of that. If we go over here to this, and let's go to the DPS summary, and then go here to Shadowknight spell count. Oh, that's not what we want. Let's go here to DPS breakdown selected. There we go. Procs. Precise disruption. I'm not sure what this thing's called. What is it called? Yeah, precise disruption is going to probably be the name. Now, I don't see it anywhere in there, but it's right here. So you can see, if that's it, right? There might be another spell. I have no idea. It might be another thing in there, but it sounds about the same. So it did about 52,000 damage from those heals, and those become life taps. So I'm guessing that's kind of how this works. But it's a new spell line that we got at this level, right? So at this range, 103. This one will carry out through, I think, the rest of the expansions. Paladins get one that's kind of similar to this, but it's a little bit different. I think it heals versus life taps. Or stuns, I think. I can't remember. Then we have Staunch Stance, which is our current level stance. This just gives us 16,000 hit points on demand. It will decay over time, you know, in half, right? So it'll decay quite quickly. But as long as you recast it on cooldown, you should be good. It is focused by an AA here. Where is it at? Extended Steely Stance. It increases the duration of your Steely Stance line of spells. Steely Stance being the level 84 version that we got way back when, by 150 seconds. And so this will go all the way till Terror of Lucklin, and I believe Lorian's Song in the next one after that. But it just keeps adding the next spell ranks. That's all it really does. Now, let's see here. Let's see if I can find... so we can talk about the next one here, skin. So the skin is also focused by an AA also, which then also has a good impact on this. So what does the skin do? Right there, 47 charges, 11 minutes. Every time we get hit, it'll absorb some of the damage that we would have taken. So it's just a little, it takes the edge off, right? It's a really nice little addition to our tanking ability. It makes it really nice to tank some of this stuff. Now, another thing I should mention while we're talking about these is Knight's Synergy. So at 105 is when we get the first version of this, which I believe is true. So this grants a passive ability on our repel. So applies repentance, which absorbs the damage of the next incoming two melee or spell attacks that strike you, right? So what this does is gives that 100% chance to give everybody in the group a 5,000 point absorb or 5 direct damage spells or 5 melee hits, whichever comes first. 5,000 takes it out or whatever. On everybody in the group, right? So if I hit repel on him right now and I click on my shaman, well, let's go over to my shaman here. So he's gonna have Knight's Synergy somewhere around here. He's got Primalist Synergy. He's got all the synergies, right? There's Evoker Synergy, Troubadour Synergy. Where is Knight's Synergy? Where's the one I'm actually looking for? I don't even see it. Is it like right here? Oh, God. Let's see here. Oh, he should have it. I don't know why he doesn't. Over here. No, it should be right here. Maybe get closer. Maybe it was a range thing here. All right, let's do that again. Repel. Then we go over here. Now we might there might be an like a collision with one of these other ones here. But there it is right here. So 9 seconds, 5 opportunities to absorb 5,000 damage total, which is kind of great, right? Like it's like a shield for everybody in the group. Every time I do my defensive ability to protect myself. So it's kind of nice. You could say it's wasted on some things, but at the same time, I have characters that randomly get hit by random stuff all the time, so I feel like it's good for me. So it's pretty good. So that's a new synergy we got now at this level. This carries on all the way to the end of the game and beyond. So it's just kind of like the way it is from now on. So it's kind of nice. You're gonna want to do repel on cooldown. So let's talk about my multi-bind. Everything else is the same as it's always been since I've been making these videos. The only thing that's changed is the multi-bind at this point. So if you're curious on some of this other stuff, you know, most of it's pretty self-explanatory. My multi-bind button is just attack on, pet, swarm, pet, attack, easy basic stuff, right? Everything else here, just AoE taunt, just uses all my AoE abilities. Is that still on? No, that's not on 9. That's on 9 now. There we go. Fixed. Let's see here. Self buff, just cast 11, 10, 12. So the last 3 there. Yeah, everything is the same. So the multi-bind is taunt. I taunt on cooldown just because it's feels like the best way to use it. I don't think waiting for taunt is going to be useful in any possible way for me. The way I play. Repel, obviously we just talked about this ad nauseum, so this makes the next 2 melee or spell attacks get absorbed and also provides a shield to the rest of the group. So we have Spear, Bite, Terror, Fang, Touch of Holman, Dire Declaration, Touch of Lutzen, and then Disgust. That's the spells. Now we also do some AAs. We do Chattering Bones, which is our current swarm pet here. It does what is this? 2 105 skeleton minions to attack for 110 seconds, and a 7% chance for them to proc a 3850 damage that does a life tap 100%. Bite of Chaos, when activated, instantly deals 8,000 damage to your target, just another big damage, and then heals 4,000, restores 1,000 mana and 200 endurance. 200 endurance. Endurance is my bottleneck right now, I feel. Then we have Ageless Enmity, which is just a taunt. Does 6,000 points of hatred. I do it on cooldown. Seems to work for me. Projection of Doom. This is a like a pet that generates hatred and gives it to me after it is done. Then we have Lacerating Blade. This is a discipline. This is from 102, timer 10. Strikes your target twice with a gashing blade. Just an extra melee attack. Costs what, 358 endurance. 1 minute reuse, right? Then we have Unflinching Acrimony, which is a 10-minute reuse, timer 6 instant cast. Forces your target's undivided attention for 18 seconds. This effect will drain their life to you and cause your allies to generate less hatred. So this is a nice focus kind of taunt, if you will. If I wasn't boxing, I would not have this in a multi-bind. I would kind of save this for, you know, tanking a boss or something. But if I did that the way I play, I would never use it. So that's just the way it is. Carmine Blade. This is a timer 12, 20-minute reuse. So this one is kind of optional. More of a burn, I guess, if you want to think of it that way. Instant duration. Strikes your target with 3 powerful sword attacks. and places you in rage, which will increase your spell and melee power. I do it on cooldown. This is probably more of a burn, but it's just something I would be able to maintain and remember. Like I would remember it at all. Then we have Vil's Resolve here. So strikes your target with 3 500-point base two-handed attacks and applies weakness to them, which increases the damage the target takes from melee attacks for 20% for 1 minute. So this is a refresh of 8 minutes. So this is kind of nice. Like most of the time when I'm fighting, I don't stop fighting. So any little extra bit that I can get, I just throw it into the multibind, because I'm not going to remember to click a billion different buttons on a billion different bars on a billion different characters. It's just too much. There's too many things to do. Then we have Reflexive Revulsion, which is a timer 19, 10-minute reuse, 393 endurance ability, which heightens your reflexes, allowing you to strike your target with 3 slashing attacks, stealing their essence to heal your group. So it's a nice little heal that you can throw out there and use. Now, if I wasn't multi-boxing, I would not have some of these abilities in my multi-bind, but since I am, and I know what everybody else in the group is going to do, I do everything on cooldown. It just works better for me. The only things I don't use in my burn are in this ability here, Spire of the Reavers, which is right here, which just increases pretty much everything for 1 minute, right? This is like a 1 minute ability. Increases my damage by 25%, increases critical chance by 125, damage by 225% for that. It's crazy stuff, right? Just crazy additions right there. I also have Projection of Doom in here, which we talked about, just a taunting thing. Forceful Rejuvenation, which will reset any spells that are currently on cooldown. Use item 17, which is my breastplate. I currently have a Cohort's Soul Render breastplate, which is from the Empires of Kunark expansion. I got this from one of the names I killed. I think the Dark Wanderer in Lysinium. I don't know if I did that on camera or not, but it was probably when I was leveling to 105. This summons a Sword of Corruption that will life tap up to 4 nearby hated enemies for 7,500 damage every 5 seconds for a maximum of 20 strikes, and then I will receive half of that as heals. So it makes me a little bit makes me very durable. And then we have Blood Drinker's Coating. This is a clicky item from the Call of Forsaken expansion, the Gribble mission, first one. The Mosquito drops this. This vampiric aura coats your weapon within a life tap poison, causing 2% of the melee damage you inflict to heal me. So it's pretty nice. Like, you know, I'm my melee. Well, what's my melee right now? Smash. No, that's not the wrong one. It's the wrong window. This one. I'm hitting for, with one-hander right now, I'm hitting for 41,000, 10,000. So you can see how much of a heal that is going to provide during that, right? And that's all I have in my burn right now. Now I have Harm Touch, which is just a huge 513,000 nuke. Leech Touch, which is a 65,000 life tap, and then Thought Leech, which is a 162,000 nuke, which will return mana back. So I have 3 of those. Those are all different timers, so use those as I see fit. Then we also have Visage of Death, which increases my melee damage. And then we have Visage of Decay, which increases my spell damage. I typically go with Visage of Death because I feel like I'm going to get more out of that because I'm not just casting spells. But if it's down, I would go with Decay. And then I have Shield Flash, which will throw my shield up. Since I am using a shield right now for up until this point in the series, before level 100, I never used the sword and shield. I only used the two-hander. But since we got to Empires of Kunark, things are starting to hit hard. I feel like I'm missing some defensive abilities at the moment, but I think we're getting to the point where we might be able to use the two-hander again. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. But that is my multibind. That's how I burn. That's the spells I use. And I guess we didn't talk about this. I do use the pet. Minion of Vizat is the current level pet. I always have it out. Mostly because it benefits my mage. Because the mage ability here, Storm of the Many, more damage for more pets attacking the mob. So me having a pet increases her damage, which increases the group's damage. You can consider the pet a DPS, if you will. Even though it's probably not the best DPS. Like if we just like send him on here, right? And then I'll click over here and you can see this is real-time pet DPS. Now the pet has buffs, obviously, from all the group spells and stuff. But he's about, what is that, 12k DPS, give or take, right? It's not terrible. Obviously not terrible, but you know, it is what it is. Like, all right, let's just say he's 12k DPS. That sounds close enough, right? Now let's let that fade. We'll see what my just melee attack DPS is against a level 105 combat dummy. As soon as this thing clears, can I clear it with this? Clear. There we go. Perfect. So my DPS, just turning on attack, not pushing any buttons at all, looks to be about 80, give or take. Well, 60. Jeez, 50 is dropping pretty quick. Yeah, it's 70 now. Let's call it 65,000 DPS. So, you know, having the pet in there, like we throw the pet in, right? That's just extra damage that I don't have to worry about. Now, I don't have taunt on my pet. I have taunt on my Beast Lord pet and my mage pet. I don't have taunt on this one. He will not survive at all. It's not a very durable pet. It's kind of like the shaman pet. It sucks, and it's just not that great. But it's free damage, so might as well throw it on there and get a little bit out of it, right? So just something kisser. I keep that up at all times. I also try to keep the Gift of Lutzen on it at all times too, which is the haste spell you get. I don't think it's on there right now. But you can see, like, I have 3 different haste spells on it anyway. So so there's a lot going on through the synergy of this group. So haste is like not an issue. But let's see here. I think that's everything. Let's talk about gear. That's what we didn't talk about. So I'm currently using a Worm Slayer. Hard to tell with my ornamentation on there, right? So let's pop that off. So Worm Slayer, you can see there, it's looks just like the original Worm Slayer from the original part of the game. I have a Wolfenite gem in there because that's all I had for a type 4 on this guy. Now on my bard has like 3 type 4s, and I'm too lazy to transfer. So this weapon is fantastic for tanking, and it really lets you do some pushing when it comes to pushing content. Now, on the face value, it's not that great of a weapon. Let's just be honest, right? Here's Limb Chopper. This is the current Paladin weapon, Paladin Shadowknight weapon you can get. You can see here it is a better ratio than this, right? And it gives a different effect, right? It gives a rune that procs 4800, right? So yeah, like, oh yeah. Now, one thing about Worm Slayer is it gives a whole bunch more AC, right? And it gives more hit points, less damage. But this is it right here. The Worm Slayer's guard is the ability that you get when you put it on. Wielding Worm Slayer protects you from 100% of incoming melee damage up to 1750 damage per hit. So no matter what the hit is, take off 1750 damage from it. And if it's less than 1750, you take 0 damage. Now, if you've seen my Moon Kitties on Veniki series, my characters on that are running around with Worm Slayers at like level 80. they're impervious to damage because nothing hits over that much damage at that point in time, right? So as soon as you can use it, it's like you become God mode. And it kind of applies here in the fact that, you know, while I'm getting hit, I don't have the logs, but while I'm getting hit for, you know, let's say 20,000, take off 1750, I'm not getting hit for 20,000 anymore. I'm getting hit for, you know, 18, whatever that is, right? Whatever that math is. I'm not doing it in my head. Now I do lose out on the damage from this, right? I do gain here. And I'm losing out on some heroic stats, but especially heroic stamina, which would really boost my hit points. But, you know, it is what it is. Now, will I continue to use Wormslayer? I don't know. I kind of want to go back to the two-hander as soon as I can. I do have a nice two-hander for this level range. Sky Reach, which is the Paladin Shadowknight two-hander here. Now you can see the stats on this thing just totally dwarfs the nonsense out of everything, because this is a chase item, I believe is what they call them. It's like a super rare, but this has a life tap on it, which kind of makes it kind of interesting. So 6,300 point life tap, 71% of that heals me, so that is kind of cool. So this, you know, kind of the direction I want to go and get back into the two-hander, but I don't think we're there yet. I'm just not 100% sure. I haven't tested it too much because when I'm making a video, I don't want to die. So, you know, I haven't had a whole lot of opportunities to test that. Now, shield-wise, I am using, what is this one? Yeah, this is the Empires of Kunark shield. I don't remember where I got this, but I believe it's Licinium drops it. Now, this is, you know, nice shield. It gives a spike of anger, so whenever we bash, it gives a chance to deal 1,200 damage plus anger them. You saw that in my right here, spike it. It angers the crit, you know, 6,900 damage just from my addition to my bash procs. Kind of nice. One thing that is really good right now, if you have the opportunity to get the tower gear, there is a tower aug you can get, the extraordinary stone of distant echoes, 54 AC, you know, some stats there, you know, all the good stats here, but it does have mana regen on it, so it's pretty nice. And you can put that in your shield. And they have there's a shield aug, I think, from level 5 all the way up to 125. So definitely worth getting there if you're using a shield. Because mana regen is kind of a pain at times, but definitely worth getting there. And I don't know of any better shields at the moment. There is a better one-hander. The Sky Reach, I think it's called Skybreaker. I think it's Skybreaker is the chase item for Empires of Kunark, and it is better than Limb Chopper, and I would arguably say it's as good as, or probably better than, Wormslayer here, but it just depends on how heavy you're leaning on this Wormslayer's Guard. The Wormslayer's Guard, you can probably lean on that for a little longer than you'd probably want to. I've seen people suggesting using it all the way up to Torment of Elias and beyond. I don't know if I would want to do that, but if I needed to, I would. As for the rest of my gear, I'm using tower gear for all the visible gear, right? I have this flower, Pocket of Clouds. This is from the Burning Lands expansion, so it's a little bit better than stuff. And then my other gear outside the breastplate is the Burning Lands tier 1, which you can wear at level 105. I was not aware of this. So this blows out of the water Conflagrant by, I think, 1,000 hit points per slot. So it's probably the best in, you know, TBL, the Burning Lands, which is the expansion after the Ring of Scale. It's probably the best bet for gear at 105. This is just what I had on Holdridge from getting the Jane's Veil for most of my characters. So, you know, I got a cloak here and I think shoulders. That's about it. But it's all the rest of it is all the tower gear and stuff like that. So it's, you know, definitely easy way to go. Like if you're on FV or whatever that you can see here, this stuff is oh, we don't want the actual. We don't want to see just the Shadowknight stuff. Like this stuff is like overly priced at times. Like you can see here, a lot of these are cheap, right? These were not. None of the ones below 150,000 were here before. But you can see here's a Paladin set for 5,000 each. So that's, I mean, that's pretty good. That's going to be cheaper than Conflagrant, in all honesty. Like if we look at Conflag, right? Now you can't wear Conflag until level 106. That's why I don't have any Conflag stuff. But you see here, there's not a whole lot of it for sale. There's some, you know, lower prices down here, but not as much as you would expect for the classes you would expect, right? There's a lot of like Shaman and Ranger. There's a ton of Ranger gear for sale on the server for some reason. But you know it is, and like don't buy a 2 million Conflagrant necklace. If you really want a Conflagrant necklace, message me and I'll make you one for free on FE. Like, don't pay 2 million for it. That's stupid. That's absolutely, some of these prices are just absolutely retarded, and it doesn't even make sense. But yeah, gear wise, that's what I got. Hopefully it allows me to push into the rest of Empires of Kunark and whatnot, and get through there. Now, I believe unbuffed, my hit points are about 165,000, give or take. Without any buffs, I'm not gonna click all my buffs off right now. It's too much work. Too much work to buff up. But it's about it. Now I do have, I have my buffs, and then I have, you know, I do have 125 buffs, right? I have an entire, you know, buffing crew of characters in that I've made, right? So I do keep myself buffed. You can get the same buffs in the guild lobbies of almost every server, and make sure you're fully buffed at all times. Just to take the edge off of leveling, right? Like I know, I was in an argument with a guy on Reddit. He was like, I don't want to box, and I don't want to use mercenaries. Like, you just want to what? What do you want to do? I mean, you can't just sit around and wait for people to do everything for you. You gotta, you know, do stuff and move forward on your own. You can't expect everybody to do everything for you. So, you know, you gotta have every opportunity you can do. And get it all done, right? That's about it. So that's how I play my level 125 Shadowknight. How do you play yours? Like I do it very specifically based on my setup. I can do everything pushing one button, right? Like I guess like I only have to push the 5 button and he does everything, right? I don't think everybody, yeah. I don't have to do anything but push 5. Sometimes I push, like, you know, my defensives and stuff like that, and I'm obviously running around pulling, you know, no automation software. It's just IS Boxer, which all it does is repeat keys, and all I do is press 5. Everything about the multibind is built into the game. There's no fancy magic about this. Every key on my hotbars are bound to the same button. All I have to do is push 5. It's so easy. Anybody can do it. I feel like I'm playing the class at like 99 to, like, let's say 95 to 99% of what I could possibly do if I was not doing this, because I'm getting the maximum activation time out of these abilities that I use, and I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think about anything at all. That saves me to, you know, worry about my mage not having mod rods and stupid shit like that, right? It's simple and it works, and I've got a synergy going and it works really well. You can see my DPS is absolutely terrible, but that is not, you know, we're not a DPS class. We are a tank, and that's why I'm using a one-hander right now. versus the 200 I've been using, because I need that, right? Go away. Get close. All right. Oh my god, you keep coming back. But anyway, so that's how I play my Shadowknight at 105. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know and we can talk about it and stuff. I know I got some feedback on, I believe, the mage video, and I got learned about an item I'd never heard of before. So that'd be nice to hear from you and what you guys think. So thank you very much and have a fantastic day.